My name is Kat. I have the pleasure of serving you as the current chair of the Mystic Grove, First Unitarian Church of Orlando's Pagan Study Group and Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans chapter. If this is your first time celebrating the winter solstice with us, a special welcome to you. As Unitarian Universalists, our religion involves an open-minded search for meaning and a commitment to asking our values to shape our actions. We come together for celebration, worship, education, and support. Though we have no formal creed or required statement of belief, there are, however, beliefs that we share. In simple words, our UU principles are: 1. Each person is important. 2. Be kind in all you do. 3. We're free to learn together. 4. We search for what is true. 5. All people need a voice. 6. Build a fair and peaceful world. 7. We care for planet Earth. People of many traditions around the world celebrate various winter holidays with lights. Some Unitarian Universalists celebrate the 7 principles by lighting candles for Chalaka. Some Christians light the candles on the Advent wreath. Some celebrate the Hindu festival of Pancha Ganapti, and some humanists might be celebrating human light. Our Jewish friends light the candles on the menorah, and some of us might be observing Kwanzaa and light the candles of the Kinara. In our Unitarian Universalist living tradition, we draw from 6 sources. Today, we draw from our 6th source, the spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. We come together to celebrate the winter solstice through a selection of seasonal readings, songs, and reflections. But what does the winter solstice mean? If you take a picture of the sun at the same time, at the same place, every day, and took them and stacked them up one on top of the other, you would see the sun's annual path on its yearly journey. This is called the solar analemma. The very top of its journey is the summer solstice, the longest day and the shortest night. The place where the night and day are equal are called the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. At the very bottom, you will find the winter solstice. It is the shortest day and the longest night of the year. Solstice in Latin means the sun standing still. It will appear like the sun has settled at the bottom for a few days, and then it will begin its annual climb back up to the top. While some pagans celebrate Samhain around October 31st as the pagan New Year, other pagans, like those of us in the Mystic Grove, celebrate the winter solstice as the start of the new year. With the arrival of winter's low, dark sky, communities around the world look to the miracle of light as a sign of renewal and as a source of hope. This year, we celebrate together from home with our bodies and from our spiritual home with our hearts. This is the night where we gather together to sing and dance and reflect. Thank you for joining us and adding your light to the celebration.
This solstice night, in honor of ancient traditions that celebrate this time of longest night, we observe that the flaming chalice holds the elements of the 4 directions: earth, air, fire, water. The lamp oil is for earth, the air that feeds the flame. The fire is light, and the chalice itself, the cup, the symbol of water. We light our chalice and reflect on the light we need to guide us through hard times, the light of our shared faith, the light of loving community, the light of love, joy, and hope. Please join us in our familiar words and light your personal chalice at home if you wish. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
simple white car. Bring your lamps and lanterns here on this last darkest day of the year. Let our hearts burn bright through the window. I'll see you tonight. Candles and other relations waltz through the door, and in time there are stories of illumination, while the roar of wind dancing outside. Bring your lamps and lanterns here on this last darkest day of the year. Let our hearts burning bright through the window. I'll see you tonight. There were pictures of lighthouses shining, of red miners' velvet glow, and the moon would come out of its hiding, flowing down on the cover of snow. When the snow quiet few sat together, faces she knew and spent, seasons for worse or for better. She raised up her glass then to them, and she said, you're my friends, and wherever life takes me, you're in. You're my home, that's the truth, and the light through the window is you. So bring your lamps, lanterns here, on this last darkest day of the year. Let our hearts be burning bright through the window. I'll see you tonight. Through the window, I'll see you tonight.
As we move more fully into worship, I invite you to sweep any distracting thoughts from your mind. Bring calm to your emotions. Check in with yourself in the present moment. To help us do that, we turn to the meditation on the Four Directions by Reverend Julia Hamilton. In the pagan tradition, which is grounded in a respect and reverence for the natural world, calling upon the Four Directions is the usual way to begin any ceremony. Each direction is associated with an element of the natural world and represents some part of our human nature as well. The directions are not seen as separate and isolated, but rather as part of the interdependent system that makes up the world. Here on our altar, we have the symbolic elements for each direction, and we will travel through the meanings associated with each direction before entering into a time of meditation. We begin in the east, toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air, represented on our altar by a feather. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Imagine the birds turning and wheeling in the air. Imagine the breeze blowing through your hair. Turning toward the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you are feeling stuck in a rut, beholden to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, look eastward. We move around the wheel to the south. The element of the south is fire. And in the southern place on our altar, the flame of our chalice burns bright. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. In the northern hemisphere, it makes sense that we associate the south toward the equator with the warmth of the sun and the heat of the flame. We see birds move south, butterflies move south, whales move south, seeking warmer places when the weather gets cold. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning toward warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up, get our blood moving, call us out of our winters, out of hibernation, into action. Continuing around the circle, we arrive in the west. The element of the west is water. And here on our altar, we have some of the water collected at our ingathering services each September. We add to this water each year, symbolizing the way we come together in our community as individual drops join in a mighty river. In the West, we are drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move in us like water, flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. If you are seeking to get in touch with your inner life, with your emotions, turn toward the west. We move now to the north. The element of the north is earth, represented here by some dirt from our very own garden. There is stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self, with the concrete, tangible world around us. The north calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in your bones, a place of rest and recovery. We have moved through these four directions, given them shape and meaning. East, air, breath, and inspiration. South, fire, transformation and action. West, water, feeling and reflection. North, earth, balance and wisdom. Now, I invite you to turn toward a direction that calls to you today. You can stay in your seat, you can stand, you can turn your head or your whole body, but orient yourself toward the one of the directions, the element that speaks to you and your life right now. When I ring the bell gong, we will enter into a moment of silent meditation.
Today, we call on the great spirit of life to be with us as Lord and Lady at Yule. First, we honor the star goddess, and near the end, we honor the sun god.
Number 524, Earth Mother, Star Mother by Starhawk. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called by 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient with our struggles to learn, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace, the heartens, and the freedom beyond fear. Within you, we are born, we grow, live, and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us, you dance forever.
As we celebrate a cozy winter solstice at home, some of you did the sun and moon paper craft and laid it on your table with your candles. If you didn't get a chance to do it, you can lay out 5 candles in a row at the top of your table to honor the dark, 2 candles in the center for the sun and the moon, and 5 candles in a row at the bottom to honor the light. Alternately, you could participate in the words and enjoy the candles on our digital altar. Our responsive reading today is We Live in Many Darknesses by Reverend Bruce T. Marshall. We live in many darknesses. We are often uncertain. We are sometimes afraid.
In the darkness, we light a candle of hope.
We all have sorrows. We have known pain. Each of us carries special regrets.
In the darkness and pain, we light a candle of forgiveness.
We are sometimes lonely, and the world seems cold and hard.
In the darkness and loneliness, we light a candle of warmth.
We have experienced times of joy and happiness, and have received numerous gifts of the heart.
In the darkness, with gratitude, we light a candle of thanks.
We have known awe, wonder, mystery, glimmerings of perfection in our imperfect world.
In the darkness, with wonder, we light a candle of praise.
We come together with our uncertainties, sorrows, joys, and wonder.
We bring together many candles, many lights. May our separate lights become one flame, that together we may be nourished by its glow and befriend the darkness. So mote it be.
We are here, we are held, we are holy, we are whole. Here, we are held, we are holy, we are
Sunbread by Elisa Clevin. Published by Puffin Books. The wind, it whooshed. The snow, it whirled. The rain streamed down. It sloshed and swirled and washed the colors from the world. Bare trees shook like chilly bones. Children grumbled in their homes. Birds and beasts all wished the sun would show its golden face again. A baker missed the sun so much, she took some flour from her hutch, some butter, sugar, eggs, and yeast. She said, I'll bake a sunny feast. Because the real sun likes to hide, I'll make my own small sun inside. She kneaded bread dough, rich in gold, glossy, springy, smooth to hold. She shaped a bread so round and grand, it seemed the sun shone in her hands. Perhaps the baker's loving touch helped her bread grow so much. Perhaps it was the year or flower. Something gave that sun bread power. It rose and rose and rose and rose. A smell from heaven filled the nose of every chilly child and dog, every porcupine and hog. They saw that good sun bread rise, shine and stop their grumbles, groans, and whines. The bakers made a sun, they cried. The bakers let them all inside, and filled them up from head to toe with puffy, hot, delicious bread. Bread so brilliant, bright and sunny, summer seemed to fill their tummies. Bread so fluffy and so fine, they felt themselves begin to shine. And then, surprise, begin to rise, to float and flutter, slip and fly, light as kites into the sky, and down again to dance and sing. They all joined hands and hooves and wings, and praised the joy good bread can bring. They made a sound so sweet and deep. The real sun woke up from its sleep. It burst out through the lumpy clouds and streamed down on the startled clouds. The sun is here, they gave a cheer. It wants some bread, the baker said. So everyone threw bits of bread, chunks and hunks and crusty crumbs, into the sky up to the sun, who ate it up and beamed back down on every city, field, and town. It dried the fur of mouse and dog, and warmed the soul of bear and frog. It glittered on the blue-green seas, wove golden ribbons through the trees. It painted colors on the day, melted all the snow away, and brought the shadows out to play. It scattered rainbows, soft and bright, fed the plants with its clear light. Streaked the sky red, yellow, pink, and purple, then began to sink. And as the sun slipped down to rest, the baker shouted this request. Come back for breakfast, please, dear son. I'll bake fresh sunbread and sun buns. The baker baked the whole night long, and then, hooray! At crack of dawn, the sun was back to spread its light like honey on each yummy bite, and danced around the world and sang of all the joy good bread can bring. And now, when it's cold and gray, and dark and icy, guess who plays? With flour, sugar, eggs, and yeast. Guess who bakes bread, stars, and beast? Bread, birds, and flowers, boats and towers, tons of buttery small suns, which shine until the real ones come. The baker and her crew, that's who.
At the center of some pagan rituals, there is an energy raising, which is then directed into a working. Today we raise energy through song and dance and bless the offering. Our 26th annual spiral dance features a small spiral dance along with clips from the 2018 spiral dance. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing and dance in your own way from home. If you like, you can trace out a spiral, first spiraling in and then turning around to spiral back out. In this way, we can safely dance together, the many little spirals across time and distance to make one big spiral dance, expressing our hope for peace and calling to the light above from down below.
I call the earth, the fire, the wind and rain. Dance, my children, dance. To guide you on this mortal plane. While you dance, children, dance. I made the ground soft beneath your feet so you could dance, children, dance. And the fire to bathe you with its heat while you dance, children, dance. I made the rain to fall to cool you down while you dance, children, dance. And the wind to blow you dry again while you dance, children, dance. I made the sun by day and the moon at night so you could dance, children, dance. So you're always in my loving light while you dance, children, dance. And you dance with the sun and the moon and the wind and the rain. And you dance with the earth and you dance with the flame. And you dance with the stars in the velvet sky. All things dance in the circle of life. So I call you to my circle now. Dance, my children, dance. Peace and love and togetherness. May you dance, children, dance. Always dance, children, dance. Like all the earth, the fire, the wind and rain. Dance, my children, dance. To guide you on this mortal plane while you dance, children, dance. I made the ground soft beneath your feet so you could dance, children, dance. And the fire to bathe you with its heat while you dance, children, dance. I made the rain to fall to cool you down while you dance, children, dance. And the wind to blow you dry again while you dance, children, dance. I made the sun by day and the moon at night so you could dance, children, dance. So you're always in my loving light while you dance, children, dance. And you dance with the sun and the moon and the wind and the rain. And you dance with the earth and you dance with the flame. And you dance with the stars in the velvet sky. All things dance in the circle of life. So I call you to my circle now. Dance, my children, dance. Peace and love and togetherness. May you dance, children, dance. Always dance, children, dance. All things dance, children, dance.
After having raised up so much energy, I invite you to focus on the Yule log and the offering basket, and fill both with your good thoughts and intentions for the new year. I invite you to do the same for the candles at your table. Keep any energy you need to recharge your own self, and send any excess energy back down to the earth through your feet. As willing and able, you can also make a contribution online. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Harbor House. The slide will appear again at the end of the service. We bless our little fires so we can keep watch through the darkest night with our flames well lit. We help remind the sun to come back again with its promise of light, hope, and brighter days. We bless today's offering so we can share our light with the world and help light up others. We remind ourselves that we are the fire tenders, so the flames of justice, community, and love can burn brightly to warm us all. So mote it be.
And now let's take a deep breath together. To open our hearts, to open our mind, to open our imagination in this winter solstice meditation from Lynn Cox. We pause now as the path of the sun reverses, seemingly holding its place for a moment of turning. We delve into the gifts of darkness of the winter solstice. We follow curiosity in our imagination down into the cold earth, taking a journey to the world below the surface. Here we find acorns cached by squirrels and chipmunks, perhaps to be food laid in store, perhaps to become trees in the fullness of time. We find the burrows of hibernating animals, those who sleep and repair. We find seeds, including some that will not sprout unless first they wait through frost and ice. Life finds rest and renewal in the darkness. And so may those who are weary find comfort. May those who are struggling find meaning and companionship. May those who are injured or ill find recovery. May those who hunger find abundance. Let this be a time of healing. Our imagination now rises to the surface, to life where the cold ground meets the crisp air. Here we observe life finding its way. Animals eating seeds left on the ground, though the harvest is long past. We notice the migration of birds, natural movement that allows populations to find places where they can thrive. We observe trees that appear to sleep and yet hold sap that will rise again before the spring arrives. We observe that not everything lives through the winter, and yet all that has lived returns to the earth and is transformed. Let this be a time of resilience. May the changing seasons bring new meaning and new insights. May creativity and persistence lead us to find resources for all to share. May those who migrate find safety, and may there be good news in the wind. May transformation lead us onward. Now we lift our imagination to the sky, to the returning sun, and to the brilliant winter night. Shifting hours of light and darkness remind us that change is part of the rhythm of the universe, and so trouble does not last. Acknowledging the gifts of darkness, we also look forward to the growing light, a time that brings glimmers of hope. We marvel at the beauty of this time. Stars unobstructed by leaves, jewels of the night shining over the land, moon and meteors inspiring us to awe and wonder. Let this be a time of celebration. What joy can be found? Let us hold it close, blow on its embers, and share its sparks. We do not take for granted having come this far, and we give thanks for our companions on the journey. And now we continue our meditation in silence. And so it is. Blessed be.
Charge of the Sun God by Dorothy Morrison. I am the light that bursts through the darkness and the smile on a young child's face. I am the warmth that melts the winter chill and the sparks that dance from the old fireplace. I am the smell of oranges and apples and the scent of cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. I am the holly, the ivy, the mistletoe ball, and the jocularity of the great god Jove. I am found in the twinkling of an aged eye, and in the hope of children everywhere. Yes, joy and love and warmth am I. Where kindness abounds, I too am there. I am your brother, your father, the wise one, and I warm you gently in the light of my love. I lighten your worries, bring good health and speed growth by shedding my rays down on you from above. But remember, my children, be grateful for my brother the darkness and winter's deep chill, for without them there would be little reason for this holiday season of peace and goodwill.
Our mini Yule candle ritual is originally by Patty Wigington. It is adapted with her permission for online worship. We begin facing our second row of candles. All guests can recite along with me. Those who have set out a row of candles to honor the light can also light them from home as we light the ones on our common digital altar. The words will appear on your screen. The wheel of the year has turned once more, and the nights have grown longer and colder. Tonight, the darkness begins to retreat, and light begins to return once again. As the wheel of the year continues to spin, the sun returns to us once more. Even in the darkest hours, even in the longest nights, the spark of life lingers on, laying dormant, waiting, ready to return when the time is right. The darkness will leave us now as the sun begins its journey home. In the spring, as the wheel turns, light returns. In the summer, as the wheel turns, light returns. In the fall, as the wheel turns, light returns. In the winter, as the wheel turns, light returns. All through the year, as the wheel turns, light returns. May the light of the sun keep returning to us, bringing life and warmth with it, keeping the promise that while shadow sometimes comes, the shadows will vanish and life will continue. We are blessed by the light of the sun. So mote it be.
Before we pass the light, we pause for a small safety tip. If you're attending worship from home with very small children or from a space where open flame might be hazardous, I invite you to use a finger instead of a candle when you pass the light. If you are using a candle, remember that the open flame stays tall and upright, and the other candle tips in to receive the light. In this way, you avoid hot wax dripping on you that might hurt. If you are attending worship on your own, or you are the last person in your household to receive the light, I invite you to make the gesture from one side to the other to virtually pass the light from your home to other homes. I invite you to sing along with us. Words will be on the screen. One spirit in the dark, like a candle wavers. Many spirits joined as one, burn with the power of the blazing sun. There is strength in community, a circle empowering you and me. The circle binds yet sets us free, in the goddess name, so mote it be. One spirit in the dark, like a candle wavers.
One spirit in the dark, like a candle wavers. Many spirits joined as one, burn with the power of the blazing sun. There is strength in community, a circle empowering you and me. A circle binds yet sets us free. In the goddess name, so mote it be. One spirit in the dark, like a candle wavers. Many spirits joined as one, burn with the power of the blazing sun. There is strength in community, a circle empowering you and me. The circle binds yet sets us free. In the goddess name, so mote it be.
Our closing reading is called Our Solstices Teach Us by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. The solstices teach us that darkness comes, that darkness goes. The solstices teach us that light comes, that light goes. The solstices teach us calmly, silently, to be calm, silent learning. The solstices teach us, as we circle the sun, that everything flies. The solstices teach us to remember the dark, to remember the light, to remember time, the seasons, and love, as we circle the sun. Blessed be.
Please join us in our familiar words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Happy winter solstice! Mwah!
Bye!
And so it is done. In our heads, we know that the sun will return in the morning. We're confident that dawn will break and the sun will bring its promise of light and warmth. The sun doesn't really need us lighting Yule candles and Yule bonfires to help show it the way. We know this in our heads. Do we know it in our hearts? We all have moments of darkness in our personal lives where we're not sure how many more days of darkness there might be. How much more hanging on in pandemic and in other personal concerns we must do. The light coming back into the world and giving us hope that it'll return back in our personal lives. This is indeed something to celebrate. Whether you leave us now or you choose to stay for some online fellowship to watch the lighting of the Yule log and share your stories, your songs, and your jokes, know that the light of this community goes with you. You're welcome here anytime you should need rekindling. Always. Blessed be.
A fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. We'll count all our blessings while the mother lays down with snow as her blanket, covering the ground. Thanks to the mother for the life that she brings. She'll waken to warm us again in the spring. The poor and the hungry, the sick and the lost, these are our children, no matter the cost. Come by the fire, the harvest to share, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. A fire is burning, the long night draws near, all who need comfort are welcome by dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. The spirit of solstice is still living